Greetings and welcome to the Astronomy Picture of the Day podcast. Today's picture for August 31st of 2025 is titled NGC 7027, the Pillow Planetary Nebula. So what do we see here? Well, here we see an example of a planetary nebula, which, as we know, has nothing to do with planets itself, except that maybe it looked like a planet or planetary system forming through telescopes long ago when this type of object was first discovered. Now, what is a planetary nebula? Well, a planetary nebula is the end state of a star much like our own sun. Now, the exact conditions and shape of the planetary nebula can depend on the star itself, but overall, when a star reaches the end of its life, the core collapses down to a white dwarf star, and the outer layers are expelled out into space. And that's kind of what we're seeing in the bluish region here, different layers of the stars that were expelled at various times over the course of its life. And based on our measurements, we can estimate that this occurred about 600 years ago, that it really started expanding and producing those shells. However, more recently, since that time, it has also expelled more material, expelled gas and dust that we see here as well. So we see that in the brown, and that gives us a completely new pattern on top of the overall planetary nebula formation. Now, why is this formed? Well, that's a very good question, and we really don't know, but there are some thoughts that we might think that it is a binary system there, and if one star is giving material to another that has a disk around it, you could possibly get something like this. Do we know for sure? Of course not. We don't know. That's sort of an estimate as to what we think might happen, but we can't really see it. We can't even resolve that there are necessarily two stars there. Two stars very close together at the center of a nebula like this would be very hard to pick out. Hard to distinguish that there are two stars there. You would need an extremely high-resolution telescope, much more resolution than the Hubble Space Telescope, which gave us this tremendous image looking at NGC 7027. So that is one example of what it could be, but of course, future studies of this nebula and of other similar nebulae will help us to better understand this process. When we look at planetary nebulae overall, we find that there are a wide variety of shapes, and those could have to do with the various situations that are going on at the center. You might get simpler planetary nebulae when there are just single stars there, an individual star going through the end of its life. As you have more stars, maybe a multiple star system, such as a binary system, two stars orbiting, then you may get something more complex, as we see in the nebula for today. So that was our picture of the day for August 31st of 2025. It was titled NGC 7027, the Pillow Planetary Nebula. We'll be back again tomorrow for the next picture, previewed to be Smashed Moonball. So we'll see what that is about tomorrow. And until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.